over-prepared. Wow, over-prepared. Imagine that. Ha, never have I ever. Wow, thank you again for being here. If you weren't here when I said stuff earlier, thank you for being here. Give it up for Karina and Bebop. Bebop Waffle Shop forever. Or for however long you want to run a business. This is the second time I'm performing here. It's a very special space, and we're very special friends, and so thank you. Glad to be here. Is there anything I need to tell you before we begin? Basically, there's one point. Oh, if you weren't here before, I did say I'm workshopping this, so if it's a little clunky, if I'm pausing or looking at my notes, that is just the way that it is. And so this is just the first iteration of this show. I'm glad to share it with you. It's really special that you're here for it. Yeah, woo! All right, cool. So it's gonna be we're gonna go on a journey at some point. I'm gonna involve you, but it's gonna be real chill. We're gonna do some of this. We're gonna do some of this. It's gonna be real chill. And I'll direct you through it when we get there. I think that's enough setup, and I should just stop putting off starting. Okay. If I was in a theater, I'd start like this. Just kidding. Sorry. Okay. Come with me. Come with me. Come with me. We'll go on a walk. I'll take you somewhere no one knows. I just want to tell you my secrets and give you a private show. I'm going to take you on a walk. We're going to go on a little bit of a grief walk. And that might sound scary, but don't be scared. Don't be scared. We're gonna be in it together, and I'm gonna try and describe how when I walk through grief, as I do walk through grief, I have ways of bending my mind around it and my experience around it so that I can be soothed or lifted or held or comforted. And sometimes discomfort is necessary, but as this walk goes, it's going to be comforting mostly. So you'll leave with a full heart and some hope if you're into that. It's not for everyone. Oh! And away we go. Your balloon. There are a few steps. So I thought about this show as sort of oh, thank you, love. It's okay.
Part of our grief journey.
It's some things end.
Interactive art.
Yeah, it is. It's interactive art. And thank you, Natalie. I will keep that and treasure it. So we have some steps. There's stages to grief, but they're not straightforward. They're not linear, and we don't experience grief that way as humans. It's cyclical or it's repeating, and so the 5 stages of grief, you've heard of them. We're going to have our own here tonight. So longing, acceptance. Oh, thank you so much. Longing, and longing, how it's painful, but how it can turn into beauty. And once that turns into beauty, there's kind of an acceptance. And then when you start to accept things, there's kind of a watery nature to that. And you can kind of question a lot and be in the flow and struggle with uncertainty. And then you reach land and put down roots and end up grounded. So that's the walk that we're going to take today. There was a great storyteller, an older man whose daughter loved him very much. When he told stories, he would captivate his audience, and he would make them laugh, and he would make them cry, and he could deliver a punchline like nobody's business. There is a man in Ireland whose daughter loves him very much, asked me to write this song about her father, and I was able to draw from my relationship with my dad. He was a great storyteller. He was telling stories past the time that he could articulate words, and you could just see his face telling a joke, and you knew in his eyes were telling a story. So this is the kind of, that like spirit of storytelling is where I want to start. This is about those two men. Okay. Maybe I don't know your favorite color, but I know you to seal a memory like ember. Gather round lights in a pub or a gaff. He can conjure a tea. Ooh, oh, give us a laugh. 'Cause when you tell a story like you do, I wanna fall into it, telling tales like you do. I wanna fall into your world, into your world, into your world, into your world. And there is beauty in laughter, sorrow and sadness, pain and elation, waiting around the bend. Ooh, the bend. And there'll be darkness and sun rays, humor and madness, punchlines and irony, waiting around the bend. Ooh, the bend. Like a guide on a river cruise, recalling folklore or recent news. Like a guide on a river cruise, recalling folklore or recent news. So gather around like in a pub or a gaff. He can conjure a tea. Ooh, oh, give us a laugh. 'Cause when you tell a story like you do, I wanna fall into it, telling tales like you do. I wanna fall into your world, into your world, into your world, into your world. I'm going to invite you into a world. Sure, yes, we can clap. Okay, yeah, thank you. I'm unsure about these transitions. Do we clap? Do we not clap? I'm as unsure as you are, so if you have the inkling to clap, just go for it. I'll take the affirmation. Thank you. It really does wonders. Okay. So into the world, I want to take you into the world of longing, the way that I see from inside here. I see longing as there's two types. There's longing for like a fantasy or something that's never been experienced or had, And then there's longing for something that's been had and then lost. So for like a fantasy, for example, I always kind of had this fantasy of living as a world traveler. And I thought it was never possible because I just didn't have the money, or I didn't know how, or I didn't have a passport, or whatever. And the grief, the marshes of grief that I trotted through to come to where I am now, and processing the loss of my father, that turned into like a drive to live this fantasy life that I never had and didn't know how to make for myself. So I didn't turn it. I didn't do anything. I was just suffering. And then because there was so much suffering, I was reaching for something that would give me life, because like grieving sucks the life out of you. So the drive and the desire like gave me life, finding ways to move out of the life I was living and into like a traveling, whatever the hell I'm doing right now. Not even exactly what I want to be doing, but it's I'm getting there. I'm iterating on it. That's because I had drive and desire that like gave me life again. And now that I'm sort of doing those things, I'm in that life. It feels good. I mean, it's still hard, but it's giving me life. I'm like coming more alive the more that I live the life and move toward the life that I want to make. Making this show is part of that. I have drive because I've never made a project from beginning to end. And now I have. So like drive. Oh, okay, yeah. Thank you. So a fantasy. Oh, I've never had this career. I've never had that baby I wanted, or I never had the kind of relationship that I wanted. Like that can create drive and ambition and like a thing that will give life, that will be life-giving. I think that our desires lead us to life-giving engagements with the world. And then the other kind of longing is loss, when you've had something and you lose it and you long for that thing that you knew. I wrote this poem on a day that I was feeling like I had everything that I wanted, even though I was experiencing longing. And this is what I wrote. I want for nothing today. I am full. And anyway, the feeling of absence of a thing is also the thing. To miss something is to know it. To miss someone means that I knew them. Longing is beautiful because it means you know what it is to have. And so that's the second type of, that's the loss. It's like you knew it. Something existed there. So I think the fantasy longing can bring like a drive, and the lost longing can bring like love and gratitude. I experienced incredible, for example, my dad. I had a great dad. I experienced him fully as a kid being a good dad. And I felt loved and accepted. And when I came back to him, I felt loved and accepted. And he just, yeah, I agree. And I miss that. I long for that relationship in my life. But it makes me certain that I felt love and that I knew love and that I like experienced life, because I think that's a lot of what life is. It's experiencing love and sharing love, because we're all just like love blobs that can connect to one another at any time, and only like our skin keeps us apart. So, yeah, the fantasy can give you a drive and give you life again, and the loss can give you gratitude that you've experienced love, that you've had something so amazing that you long for it, because that's the stuff of life. That's life. Like, that's energy. But there's nothing like heartbreak. So we're just gonna feel into heartbreak for a moment. Is that okay? It's gonna be short. It's gonna be like 2 minutes. 2 minutes.
That's what he said.
2 minutes of heartbreak.
Setting a timer.
Yes. Oh gosh. These days I wake up to a pillow without your sweet face, and I'm sad, and I'm lonely, and I'm all those things I said I wouldn't be. We were so good together. You threw me aside. You have reasons. I'm put off by the way you act, but I love you through the season. These days I wake up to a pillow without your sweet face, and I'm sad, and I'm lonely, and I'm all those things I said I wouldn't be. Thank you. So while I do find longing beautiful, I do wish to turn it and transform it into something else, because it can be so painful. And there are different ways to do that. I can be resigned. I can be resigned to my longing and sort of let it wash over me and let that be beautiful. Or I can turn that painful experience into a pleasurable experience by listening to the drive for what I really want, or listening to the loss for what I might find in someone else, or I might find in myself, or I might find in nature. I find a lot of connection in nature. Hello. Sorry. So we may find that if we go through the pain of longing, then it can become pleasureful, or it can transform into something that reminds us what we want or what gives us life. If we know we're depleted, then we might have an idea of when we felt alive in the past, or what's churning as a small desire or preference, what might come out as like a new passionate hobby, or a relationship to the self, or a relationship with a plant, for example. Earlier in the week, I was feeling quite anxious. I was at my mom's apartment, and I just set a timer for 5 minutes, and I stared at a plant. And it was like a wonderful part of my day, and it fully transformed how I felt. And I wasn't necessarily longing, but like there are things that we know that give us life. And so I think it's important to listen to those things and then to act on them. And that can churn pain into something pleasurable. But wherever you're at on the spectrum, it can be a beautiful experience, because really, the bigger our emotions are, the more breadth of human experience that we get to have. And we have our routines and we have our day-to-day, and that's comfortable, but we are alive, and that's pretty wild. And so little reminders of that, I personally really like. That really works for me. And if I am feeling big, I can just be reminded, like, whew, I am very human. And that's weird. You know, just a moment to like zoom out from your life and take a picture of the bigger scope. Yeah, so there are these different ways of like transmuting longings so that we can feel alive, we can feel passionate, we can feel joyful. And that makes it easier to get into like acceptance, accepting loss, accepting whatever we want that we don't have, accepting where life is in this moment. Because that also helps with the grieving, is to just let it happen. Resisting the urge to cry, or resisting the fact that something has happened that you don't want to have happened, that resistance takes so much more energy than accepting. And that's just hard. But acceptance is, for me, like, really important part of going through grief. I don't want it to be true, but it is true. And we have, everybody says, c'est la vie, or it is what it is. We have these ways of taking that concept, but they're kind of like, ugh, it is what it is, c'est la vie. And so that's one way to accept, is to be resigned and to accept that way. You can also like accept fully and let it hurt and just enjoy the hurt. Okay, I think I'm babbling a little bit. Acceptance is what the next song is about. I'm just gonna start singing. Oh my gosh. Okay. Thank you for being here. Woo! Okay. All right. Yeah, this is a song I wrote when I was like, well, I guess I'm not gonna live in France like I thought.
Perfect.
Life is so hard. My life is so beautiful. Okay. Walking around a cathedral, just humming. And that's just how it is. I try to be cool, but I'm not. Going through Europe's expensive, twisting the plot. I thought I'd learn by now to be free, but have not. And I thought I'd write all these songs on the road, but I'm blocked. And it's just how it is. Oh, it's just how it is. I left my whole life behind for a dream in a box. Somehow I crawled inside and now it's locked. Whoa, later remind me, quit expecting change my reality, 'cause that's not how it is. Oh, that's not how it is. Happy to leave this old place and say I forgot. I wanted a barter, but instead I bought. I thought I'd learn by now to be free, but it's hard. And I'd rather be learning to build out the earth that we got. But that's just how it is. And that's just how it is. Thank you. So there is, I find, a duality to acceptance as well. There's being resigned and feeling like, that's just how it is. And feeling determined, like determined that that's not it. And that's not all there is. And what there actually is life and adventure and beauty and love on the other side of whatever it is that I'm experiencing in that moment. Acceptance can be joyful. It might feel forced at first, but it's possible. Acceptance can be life-giving. Acceptance can be floating. Acceptance can also bring up a lot of questions, a lot of, well, why? And, well, who am I then? And why? And those are pretty scary. But at the same time, it's good to question things. It's good to question systems that are in place that we don't believe in. It's good to question why we're living the life that we are every day. It's good to question institutions and how we spend our money and ourselves and society around us. So I like the questioning part. And it can feel a little wonky and uncertain and like you're floating without going anywhere or seeing any land around. Scary, thrilling, emotional thrills. As you can tell, I'm really into emotional thrills. I can like really live on this kind of ups and downs, and it's scary, but it is. I have found a lot of healing in it. So in the realm of floating and question asking and wondering, I'm gonna have you make some noise. Is that what's next? No, that's not what's next. We're gonna make noise after we get a little more sad. But this is the most important song to me. This is stubborn. This is about stubbornness. You can be resigned or you can be determined. And if you have a little bit of stubbornness in your blood, if you're Cajun or if you just happen to have parents who are stubborn, cool. It really helps. It really helps. I appreciate the way that my stubbornness turns into. I mean, it can be problematic in relationships, sure, but I think that it gives me drive and it gives me determination and it gives me fire to like know stuff and to make moves in my life or to say things to other people and take up space in the world. So I'm grateful for my stubbornness, and I think I use it for good mostly, as much as I can. And I got it from both my parents, but especially my dad, I think. this is a song called Stubborn Man. He was so stubborn that he just refused to die. He stayed alive so long just to be with my mom, just to be with us, and to make eye contact. And he just hung on as long as he could. He was so stubborn to go. And then when we spread his ashes, he was so stubborn that he couldn't make it to the water, and he landed on all the stuff around the water. This is about that. It's been a year since spreading your ashes at the river in night. You refused to go in the water from the glass jar we brought. The queen and lace found some of your grace. The rocks collected your charm. Your humor was taught on the backs of the bugs. What a stubborn man you are. What a stubborn man you are. When the crows wake me with their calling, I'm reminded you're with me now. I can talk and believe that you'll hear me, though my voice barely makes a sound. You had faith, and yeah, you had wisdom. Showed us love and how to be true. Now I don't walk with your religion, but I learned how to learn from you. The queen has raised found some of your grace. The birds collected your charm. Your humor was caught on the backs of the bugs. What a stubborn man you are. What a stubborn man you are. What a stubborn man you are. You ready to make some sounds? You're going to become the rain, and then you're going to become the ocean, and then I'm going to ask some questions, and then we're going to move on and find land. Does that sound okay? Okay. So the ocean sound, I'll show you first. It's this. We're going to start and end with this, actually. Is everybody doing it? I'm going to stop so I can hear you. Good. Yeah. Okay. And then while you're doing that, can you go, and you can let it go as long as you need, and then take a breath, and then let it go. Okay, so that's what we're going to end on. We're going to snap. Now we're going to make a rainstorm. So we know how to make the ocean. Now we're going to make a rainstorm. So we're going to snap. And then I want to stop talking, so follow what I'm doing slowly. And everyone should be at different rhythms. Like, do your own rhythm. okay? We need this for the sound. Snaps, claps, and then we're gonna do this. And then we're gonna do this. Okay, we're still clapping. Okay. And then some people do this. Big thunder claps. Good, 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 good. Okay. Great. Continue to do this. I want to stay in the ocean for a minute. Sometimes I ask myself questions like, am I a fish? Am I an old, ancient sea creature who can't hear, can't see, lives at the bottom of the ocean and just flows? Or am I a boat? Am I an old tree that became a kayak that floats on the water? It's vulnerable, but it's strong. Am I a sailor? Am I a person who fishes and feeds people and stares at the water all day and stares at the horizon line, wondering what's out there? Am I a wave? A powerful force of nature, moving, made of tiny droplets of water, all moving in sync. Am I a fish? Am I a boat? Am I a sailor? Am I a wave? Am I a fish? Am I a boat? Am I a sailor? Am I a wave? Am I a fish? Am I a boat? Am I a sailor? Am I a wave? Am I a fish? Am I a boat? Am I a sailor? Am I a wave? Am I a fish? Am I a boat? Am I a sailor? Am I a wave? Am I a fish? Am I a boat? Am I a sailor? Am I a wave? Nice. Give yourself a hand. That was a real experiment. We did that together. Thank you.
I like that.
Get back to me on how that felt later. Cool. To question can be brave and scary and brave. And it can make changes, and it can move things, and it can change things around you, and it can change things on the inside. Questioning can be brave, and saying I don't know can also be brave. I don't know, in a way, is freedom. For me, questioning can feel like real uncertainty and feeling lost and feeling untethered. But saying I don't know brings me right back to ground. I can say, here's my argument for saying I don't know out in the world. Imagine if you have a boss, most of us have a boss. Imagine if you have a boss and you ask this boss, they tell you to do something and you ask them why. And they respond with some answer that isn't true and doesn't matter and they don't really know, but they're not saying, I don't know. Imagine if they said, I don't know. And then I don't know turned into, I don't know, but let's learn together. Or I don't know, but do you want to take that on? I don't know. and we should find out why so that we can do it effectively. Or imagine if your parent said, I don't know. Imagine if U.S. leaders said, I don't know, but let's find out. I don't know how to do this well, but let's learn together. If we all just said, I don't know, a little more when we mean I don't know, I think the world would feel a little more nimble and a little more accepting and a little more gracious. That's my argument for saying I don't know in life. It does feel really grounding for me to get to that spot. And of course, getting back on land can feel really nice and more settled. 2020's isolation turned into 2021 being a real year of finding out that I could get the feeling of connection that I find with people from nature. And I know this is an old lesson for a lot of people, but it was actually pretty new to me. And I'd taken mushrooms, I'd connected with plants, you know what I mean? But on the suggestion of a friend, when I was really, really deep in sadness at the end of 2020, she said, go find a tree to be friends with and flirt with the plants and the flowers in your neighborhood and look for that connection that you'd usually look for in people in nature. And that changed my whole world, and that changed my experience of my grief and of lockdown and of my friendships and of my relationship to myself. And it was incredibly freeing to say, like, I don't know how to feel better, but I'm going to take the suggestion and then find a tree, and then I still have a tree friend. And I still have that spot that I go to. And that's really special. And that gave me so much feeling of a connectedness and like groundedness. And it made me feel like okay in a way that nothing had ever made me feel that before. So you've probably heard this song if you've heard me sing before. It is the Good Weed song. And I wrote it in this time when I was really connecting to nature and feeling like I am just a plant. I want to be deeply rooted, and I want my branches to be flexible. So here we go. And if you know the chorus, please sing. Oh my gosh, how does it start? Got my roots deep, got my feet planted. I'm a good weed. I'm the whole planet. When my fruit's sweet, woo, god damn it. Maybe I'll bleed, but the joke landed. I don't know anything, and I know everything, so I'll let it be. Let the answer come to me. Ooh, I don't know anything, and I know everything, so I'll let it be. Let the answer come. Why wait? Why wait? Ooh, why? Vibrate. Procrastination. Or is it patience? Ooh, don't get too heady. Don't you know the answer already? Got my roots deep, got my feet planted. I'm a good weed, I'm the whole planet. When my fruit's sweet, whoo, god damn it. Maybe I'll bleed, but the joke landed. I don't know anything, and I know everything, so I let it be. Let the answer come to me. Ooh, I don't know anything, and I know everything, so I let it be. let the answer come. Got my roots deep, got my feet planted. I'm a good weed, I'm the whole planet, but my fruit's sweet. God damn it, maybe I'll bleed, but the joke landed. Got my roots deep, got my feet planted. I'm a good weed. God damn it. I'm here to remind you that we have a vast landscape of emotional experience available to us. And none of it has to be scary. It can be an adventure. It can be soothing. It can be hard and then easy and then hard. But I invite you to welcome the depths of your emotion, to experience grief as deeply as you can, as much as you can. It's going to come up anyway. So get a handle on it early. Front load that operation. Is that the corporate term? Front load? Back load? Front load. Backfill. That's different. My sister teaches me corporate terms, and then we laugh about them. We have a vast landscape of emotion, and I think it's important that we feel it and that we have all of the experiences that are within us to have. And that is my speech. Here's what I want to do. I want us to just go back to the ocean. We're going to go back to the ocean. And I'm going to say a few more lines and close it up. If you can hear me while you go shh, please do the shh part. I need the ocean. Steep in longing. Say yes and accept. When stuck, let stubbornness move you. Question everything. Swim in uncertainty. Ground in your own nature. We are plants. You are a force of nature. So grieve and live. I love you.